If you're an AI automation freelancer, you could be getting paid 6 times more than what you're currently charging. I help builders and freelancers transition to AI consultants who close 4 and 5 figure projects and retainers, and build businesses that actually scale. In this video, I'm breaking down 2 real client projects that I built. One paid me $45 an hour, the other paid about $300 an hour, and the only thing that changed was how I positioned myself. This was the one key difference that allowed me to 6x my rate, and if you stick around, you'll learn how you can do the same. Now, let's dive in. So let's start with my very first freelance project on Upwork. I built a custom 5-agent workflow in N8N with a custom-built web scraper that I deployed to Apify. All in all, it took me a little over 80 hours. So in that project, I was getting direction from the client. He was telling me what he wanted built, and I built it. So I was reacting rather than leading. And I was handling everything from really tedious tasks to really complex stuff. But everything from, fixing his Airtable base that he broke to deploying the web scraper. So not only was I undervalued, but I felt it. And when the final project was complete, I realized that I had built a real estate lead generation system that would make the client tens of thousands of dollars in the next several months. And I, its creator that made it possible, only got a fraction of that. So for my 80-ish hours of work, I got paid roughly $4,000. So yes, it was nice to make a little bit of extra money, but it also felt chaotic, stressful. And by the end of the project, I was just hoping that it would end soon. I was just the hired help, and the scope changed constantly, and I just had to roll with it because I was getting paid hourly, so that was kind of my job. And in case you've never used Upwork before, this is basically how that process breaks down. So this is what it looks like for a freelancer who's working to get clients. Is they're having to review these job postings basically. So this is the real job posting for the first Upwork gig that I ended up landing, which ended up being a 2-month project. It paid out about $4,000, and it was roughly 8 to 10 hours a week. And so what it actually started out as was more of a lead communication or a lead nurture system. But what it ended up turning into was an extremely valuable lead generation for real estate multi-agent system. And so you can see that they were willing to hire an expert, so willing to pay higher rates for the most experienced freelancers. But in their mind, that's $20 to $50 an hour. I charged $45 an hour at that time. And then if I scroll down further, I can see that there were 10 to 15 proposals. So $20 to $50 an hour, and you're just one of 10 to 15 different freelancers who are all vying for that same job. And then just to give you an idea of what I built, so this is one of 5 different workflows. And this whole entire thing ran for about $80 or less per month, and it generated real estate leads, which are extremely expensive or valuable if you're the one selling them. So this involved API integrations, building a custom data scraper and deploying it to Apify, and building really robust AI agents within N8N with all of the documentation, all of the error handling, everything that you would expect from a high-ticket project built in. And I was being paid $45 an hour. And now let's compare that to a project that I did for a family farm that was looking to implement AI into their operation, which was a $6,000 deal that came from my presentation at the AI Insight Summit back in April of 2025. So with that client, I led the conversation. I asked questions to diagnose and then come up with a treatment plan for the problems. And I recommended the best fit automations that would have the highest impact and ROI in their business. And the crazy thing was, it was about 20 to 25 hours of work, but the value to her business was really high. So how was I able to charge $6,000 for a fraction of the work that I did on my Upwork project? It's because I wasn't selling my time, I was selling a solution. I remember sending the proposal to her for $6,000 and thinking, oh, there's no way she's going to go for it, because on our discovery call, she had mentioned the cost of her CRM and put it in a negative light. And it was only $120 a month. So I was like, there's no way that she's going to go for this. But she did end up going for it. And the reason was she had a set of very painful problems in her business. And I clearly positioned my solution as the answer to those problems. So I showed up as a strategic partner instead of her having to come up with a game plan and then feed it to me and me just pushing buttons. So she trusted me, and I got paid what the transformation was worth, not the hours that it took to build it. And here's the kicker. I used virtually the same exact technical skills on both projects. Airtable, N8N, API integrations. So what made the difference? It wasn't what I built, it was how I positioned myself. Freelancers do what they're told. consultants lead. Freelancers get paid for the hours they work. Consultants get paid for their brains, the outcomes they deliver, and the results that those outcomes produce for the business. When you show up with leadership, confidence, and a clear offer, clients pay you for your thinking and not just your building. You go from a commodity to a premium. And this is what shifts when you step into that consultant identity. Freelancers compete for leads. On platforms like Upwork, you're going to have 5 to 50 proposals for the same work. Consultants are in demand. I can't tell you the number of people that I've turned away or intentionally priced a project really high, hoping that they wouldn't say yes. Freelancers just take what jobs they can get or what they're given. Consultants get to be selective about what clients that they want to work with. Freelancers are directed, this is what you need to build. And consultants diagnose a business's problems and then recommend treatments or solutions. And freelancers have to start over again, like you start from scratch or from zero every time you need a new client. So aside from maybe having 5-star reviews on Upwork that show you're not a complete scammer or a noob, the previous work that you did and the previous results that you got for other clients doesn't necessarily translate into new work or winning new clients. And consultants use proof in the form of results that they've gotten for previous clients, and they parlay that into credibility, trust, and the ability to command higher pay. The point is, to be able to position yourself as a consultant, you need to have done real builds for real businesses, capture video testimonials or case studies or both from those clients, and then be able to speak about the results that your automations delivered for that business. For example, did the client stop losing $10,000 a month because of manual inefficient processes? Or did their sales team save 50 hours a week on manual follow-up with leads? Does the business now earn an additional $100,000 of revenue annually? Because if so, now you can go to the next business that you want to work with and say, this is what I achieved with XYZ business. They're saving 50 hours a week on lead follow-up and earning an additional $100,000 per year. And this is how I see something similar working for your business. This is the revised proposal from the $6,000 project that I landed after the AI Insight Summit. And I have sensitive information redacted, but this was the scope of the project that I completed. So it was a CRM and Airtable integration, an Airtable lead dashboard, a lead follow-up system, a personalized onboarding dashboard for family members. Like I believe I mentioned, this was a family farm that wanted to implement AI and automation into their business, a referral tracker, a voice agent, and then basically just support and documentation. So walkthrough. So this was a fraction of the work, but when you compare the hours that I spent on both projects, I ended up getting paid 6 times more per hour for this one. And a big reason for this is freelancers hang out on Upwork, but AI consultants hang out speaking at events. And so the perceived value that leads are going to have if you are speaking at an event and thereby positioning yourself differently than a freelancer on a platform like Upwork, you're going to be seen as so much more valuable. So now you've seen the impact that positioning has in the AI automation marketplace. Freelancers are a dime a dozen, like I hate to say it, but consultants are highly paid and in demand. So if you're done being the overworked, underpaid freelancer and ready to step into the role of a highly paid AI consultant, click the link down in the description and book a strategy call. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.